What if I told you that a former Special Forces soldier may have uncovered technology so advanced, so dangerous, that it could change warfare as we know it? Well, tonight, we have exclusive details from Matthew Livelsberger's manifesto that will shake your understanding of everything you thought you knew about national security. From gravitic propulsion systems to Chinese military capabilities, what this man discovered and why he chose such a dramatic way to expose it points to something far more sinister than anyone imagined. The real question isn't why he did it, but what forces were so powerful that he felt this was his only option. Now, America, it used to be that every dollar that came off the printing press had to have a piece of gold to back it, but not anymore. In 1971, President Richard Nixon took the United States off the gold standard, and our currency has been devaluing ever since. Meanwhile, gold has been going up in value, and it's not that gold's getting expensive, it's that it requires more of your weak dollars to buy the same gold of yesterday. Just like the Cybertruck bomber warned about hidden technologies, there are hidden truths about our money system they don't want you to know. Call my friends at Global Gold Investments to receive their new 2025 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide absolutely free by calling 888-700-4148. Mention Next News and receive a complimentary portfolio analysis from America's leading precious metals and retirement company. Okay, so this is crazy news today. A total twist in the story. And the Las Vegas police confirmed. They said that they do believe the manifesto being circulated by Shawn Ryan was written by the bombing suspect. The manifesto mentions what he believes to be true, the true reason for the drones in New Jersey, and such as China being the ones to launch them off the East Coast. He says they're the most dangerous threat to national security that have ever existed. Now, we're going to cut to some of the highlights from the Shawn Ryan podcast. But first, let's hear it from the officials themselves.
Vehicle was not. And please keep in mind, this is a very extensive investigation, so there's a lot of content for us to review and examine. We're just showing examples and samples as we get them. There's more information as we go through it. But in this video, you can see even the distinctive jacket that he is wearing in that vehicle. The other thing that's important is the sheriff mentioned yesterday that Tesla sent to us engineers to come to Las Vegas to help us extract data from the vehicle. Thanks to their support, we were able to extract an SDMI chip from the Tesla vehicle, and Tesla was able to confirm to us using the data from the vehicle that the vehicle was not in full self-driving mode at any time during this incident. Finally, the last category just to touch on is motive, which I know everyone is very eager to try to understand and be able to explain what happened. I'll reiterate what the sheriff said is we still have a large volume of data to go through and a lot of content to go through. As you know, with any one of our devices, there's thousands, if not millions, of videos and photos and documents and web history and all of those things that need to be analyzed. But with that, just as a preview for as we get information, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. There were a couple pieces of content we thought were important to share for now. One is in the note application. He seemed to have two letters. One letter in particular, as you can see here, this is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. He goes on to explain a variety of other grievances and issues, some political, some personal, a variety of other things, which we will do our best to release very quickly here. But then there's a second letter where there's some more excerpts. This one seems to be dated after the fact in that notes application. And in there, you can read a couple of the excerpts. We are the United States of America, the best country, people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. I'd like to just also expand on that and understand that these are just excerpts in there. He does offer additional information that is varying on the spectrum in terms of political grievances, issues about the conflicts elsewhere, not here, domestic issues, societal issues, a variety of other things, including personal challenges as well. We are intending to release those initial letters so people can understand the best they can what the person's thought process was at one point in time. However, please understand there is still a lot more content to go through, and that may change. There may be a lot more information that we recover that explains either more or shows a change in mindset at different times.
So they are selectively releasing this email that was sent to, what's the guy's name? It was, sorry, I'm a little jarred right now. This guy here, Sam Shoemate, who went on the Shawn Ryan Show. And he has an interesting theory. We're going to play that for you in a moment. But, I mean, this just threw us all for a loop today. They believe the manifesto being circulated was written by the bombing suspect. And you see, there was also another narrative that was being pushed around that he was, he had broken up with his wife and he was just brokenhearted, and his wife or something caught him cheating. So they tried to push this into some brokenhearted, that was his motive, right? But based on this email, it paints a very different story. Ashton Forbes actually brought this to my attention. Bombshell after bombshell today. Email from Matthew Livelsberger claims the drones on the East Coast are utilizing gravity manipulation. It claims China and the U.S. are the only ones with anti-gravity drones like this, and that the U.S. needs to come clean about it, about their weaponization of exotic technology. If you listen to any of my reporting on the New Jersey drone situation, you'll hear me repeatedly make similar claims and even take it a step further and detail how we've been able to make plasma drones with these capabilities. I did not expect all this to happen today. I did not expect the collision of the New Jersey drones, the Chinese spy balloon, and the Cybertruck bomber all to come to a head today. But in case you're wondering what gravitic propulsion system is, I mean, here we are. This is a patent by the United States Patent Office. And even stranger still, we find out that this guy, Matthew Livelsberger, participated in a TV reality show on the History Channel, and Inside Edition just broke this a couple hours ago.
And what was he like? It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago on the History Channel. They not only won, it wasn't even close.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg. So it took Tim Kelly a while to put two and two together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with an older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
At one point during the show, Livelsberger lost his cool in the 90-plus degree heat.
I'm about to throw up, man. I got heat exhaustion, man. I need to take the off right now.
Tim Kelly says he hadn't heard from Livelsberger for a few years.
It just categorically does not make sense. From everything that I have heard, he was universally valued by his team, by his peers. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, and it is just horrifically heartbreaking.
So, Inside Edition breaking that crazy story. Captain Joseph O'Shaughnessy, a friend of mine, posted this 3 hours ago. Breaking intel. He contacted Samasor and told him he was being followed by the feds. They wouldn't grab him because they knew he was armed with and driving with a VBIED. He told him he was going to Mexico. This would totally explain why he was driving through Las Vegas, New Mexico, because it would be on his direct route to the closest border crossing in Juarez. I'm under belief that Matt only made it to Las Vegas New Mexico before he was intercepted, and the body found inside the vehicle in Nevada is not him due to the DNA not matching his son. So that's another twist, that the DNA, there is no DNA match. And the New York Post reports Special Forces soldier Matthew Livelsberger claimed Cybertruck bombing wasn't a terror attack in a note, but a way to cleanse his mind of the brothers that he lost. David Harris Jr., the latest on the Las Vegas bomber, police recovered 2 letters that gives a clearer motive on the alleged bomber. Both letters were in the theme of a warning to America and that the country was headed towards collapse.
Excerpts. This
Here's
were
more.
important to share for now. One is in the note application. He seemed to have 2 letters. One letter in particular, as you can see here, this is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves.
Okay, I know you guys want to get to the point. Here is what I have cut for you from the Shawn Ryan Podcast. Chilling new details about the Cybertruck bomber's email. Livelsberger claimed his message would change the course of humanity, cited advanced gravitic propulsion systems, and warned of being tracked by the FBI. Let's just get right to it.
That's nothing ever like this has ever come in. But I get a, well, it started off as comments. And he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity. Okay, a little bit dramatic. So I give him my Proton email account, give him my signal number. And he reaches out immediately and said, like I said, this last Sunday, he said, sending with a VPN active on Wi-Fi only. That's how I ended up getting this message on Tuesday. So the message that this right here, this manifesto, if you want to call it that, came in on Tuesday. And when I started reading this, my initial take was, okay, this is off the deep end. It's bonkers. I can't validate or verify any of the stuff in this manifesto. That's the last time I talked to him. We're Friday now. That was 3 days ago.
So
the day before.
30th?
Yeah, the day before the attack. I dismissed this stuff out of hand. That was the body of his email that he sent me. And I didn't think anything about it. I didn't know who Matt Livelsberger or anything else. He told me who he was in the email. He pointed me to his LinkedIn account. It was at 8:46 a.m. yesterday. So I woke up and I said, OF, I'm shaking. This guy emailed me 2 days ago. I'm not playing. And then he said, damn. And then this was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
I'm faking, bro. You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a VBID. I'm not flying, dude. I have the email. I am shaking, man.
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff, and this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Wow. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. You all have heard the email now. You realize without context of who this person is, how just crazy it sounds. And I told her, I said, well, I mean, I guess if the dude ends up getting rolled up by the feds or he gets killed, we got a story, huh? Man, famous last words, right?
Yeah.
That's so I looked at, and I want to give context on one of the things. I saw this going around on social media. People were saying that his Signal chat, his safety number changed. I don't know if you saw this on X, but it was all over X. Apparently his safety number on Signal changed. He messaged me on Signal. So I went on there to look myself to see if it changed, and sure enough, it had. On January 1st, after the bombing, after he was dead, his safety number changed. That's all he sent me. He said initial contact, and I gave a thumbs up, and his safety number changed at the bottom.
Look at that.
That's after he's dead. I don't know enough about Signal to know why that would happen. Somebody has to have manipulated that, though, and messed with it. Somebody had to have been in his account after the fact and done something for that to have changed. Nothing.
Or he's not dead, right? Wow. Douglas McGregor posting this 3 hours ago. Evidence emerges that accused Cybertruck bomber Matthew Livelsberger was preparing to release evidence of U.S. government war crimes in Afghanistan. And then we have this. Remember, they were talking about the drones. New Jersey drones.
That was my reaction. One of their officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off the ocean. Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean. 50? 50. That was my reaction also. There were 50 that were coming off the ocean. And this is a sworn officer?
A sworn officer, yes. We contacted state police, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the Coast Guard, at which point the Coast Guard went out with their boat and they reported seeing 13 following their boat. And then the Coast Guard also advised that they went over them about 300 feet and had a wingspan of about 8 feet.
You know, the Ocean County Sheriff, that drone unit, they have an industrial grade drone. They put it up. They were tracking one of these drones, Elizabeth, and they said this thing easily evaded them, disappeared out of thin air. So, you know, to me, it's if this is not our military, then it's even more scary, and we need answers, frankly. One of their officers.
We need answers. Well, do you remember that one congressman said that they were Iranian drones? Well, maybe they were Iranian drones working in concert with the Chinese. I never imagined that these two stories would collide. I never imagined that. Now, this is the theory that was presented by Sam Shoemate about this Cybertruck bomber, alleged, stating he may still be alive. Listen to this.
Do you have any insight, any theories on this?
So we had a running theory downstairs. I've seen all of the conspiracies. I've seen all the questions about, all right, this guy is 20-year special forces. He just got done with team sergeant time. He is a very qualified and very capable Green Beret. Everybody I've spoken to who knew the guy prior, yesterday I spoke to several people, to include his old team leader, who's now lieutenant colonel, said he was fine. Nothing out of place. His mental state was not something that anybody was concerned about. His ex-girlfriend posted photos of him bragging about how he got a Tesla and all this other stuff. So stick with me here. Very capable guy, but he loads the Tesla up. A Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing that it's going to, not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk, when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. So the PAO, the Army PAO, is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know that there was they said he was shot by a Desert Eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert, and he talks about this, and there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself up to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. It's already burned up, or it's already shot, excuse me. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number, or his signal safety number, changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to the tower, and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere.
Do you have any?
Think about that for a second. This totally changes the entire narrative that was slowly being drip-fed to us. Okay? They said that, he was just brokenhearted. Here's Colin Rugg a day ago. The wife of accused Trump Hotel truck bomber Matthew Livelsberger broke up with him last week, according to law enforcement sources. He was married at least twice, according to new information. A friend of his ex-wife from his other marriage. Here.
He sold a Mustang not too long ago to one of his friends.
Do you hear what she said? Mustang. That was the car that he described in the email. Okay, we're connecting these dots now. He sold the Mustang.
And the last time I spoke to him was not too long ago. He was asking for like a tool for his car. His wife was really nice. I'm sorry.
No worries.
No, I'm okay. Just like shooken up right now because.
Did they have any kids, or was it just him and his wife?
Him and his wife, and they just had a kid.
Okay.
They just had a kid.
Do you know how recently they had a kid? Like how old?
Not too long. Yeah,
Okay.
very young.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know how long they've lived here in Colorado
They
Springs?
lived here. So I have been here for 2 years now. So they've been here longer than, I don't know. Exactly
Yeah.
I think his
how long.
last residence was 2019 at a different address. So he might have moved in somewhere around then. These are all pretty new, so 2020 seems about right.
So that's part of the narrative, the broken heart narrative, but now it seems the narrative has gotten even deeper, that he was about to blow the whistle on secret government technology as well as the crimes in Afghanistan that he was a part of. Here is Yegtam Braid. The Las Vegas bomber sent emails before he died to Shawn Ryan and Sam Shoemate. They are going public today with his final words. No Biden FBI burying this manifesto. Guy names names and his beefs. This interview is going to be off the charts. You need to go and see the entire, it's a 1 hour interview. I just gave you the highlight there. Scrapped all emails. SRS also received direct email from Matt Livelsberger through our support desk. We will release the email with today's show. They asked him, how confident are you that this came from him? Well, they're pretty damn confident. Here's what OSINT Defender posted. Apparent text between Livelsberger and his ex-girlfriend only days before his actions. Talked about how much he enjoyed his new position in the Army working on drones. Also, while talking about the Tesla Cybertruck he recently rented, how fast it was. Here are the text messages that he sent. I rented this Tesla Cybertruck. I'm building drones in my new position. You would love it. So it's got pictures of it here. Not just that, we've also got new footage released of him spotted at a Tesla charging station during his route to Las Vegas, Nevada. Spotted. Here he is charging the Tesla Cybertruck. Unbelievable. What a twist in today's reporting. This is not something I expected at all. And when Ashton Forbes posted that, I said, what did you just come across? And I was shocked. And we're trying to get him on the show right now to give us some more insight, because if there's one person that understands the technology that was disclosed in this email, it's Ashton Forbes.
Thanks for having me back on. Let's talk about this crazy, insane, emails that have been sent that Shawn Ryan broke today.
Yeah, Ashton, I saw your post and I was like, what the hell is going on? I was quite shocked. I dug a little deeper and found the full text of it. And I said, what are they I mean, I didn't expect this to be connected to the drones over New Jersey. That was the last thing on my bingo card today. But here we are. And then the discussion of these Chinese propulsion devices, the Afghanistan situation. What can you tell us with respect to the technology that he's referencing in this email?
Yeah, he's not talking about some just conventional drones here. Like when he talks about his security clearance at the end, he says TSSCI, which is top secret compartmentalized. But then he also says UAP and then USAP. And it was funny because Shawn Ryan and the guy who's interviewing didn't even know what that meant. He's saying I'm in UFO programs that are unacknowledged special access programs. And he's saying these are like black projects that I'm involved in. And he's a drone operator. So he's speaking from his own personal experience in this case, saying I've worked on some drones that are anti-gravity. I know anti-gravity exists. And he knows China has it as well, or probably good degree of confidence. And what I want to say too is that not everything necessarily in his letter may be 100% true. It's just you have to look at it from his perspective, from what a guy who's worked in black projects that is freaking out because he's like, we have crazy advanced technology that the world doesn't really understand or isn't potentially ready for at the moment. And how am I going to react and protect myself, while I'm driving to Mexico, apparently.
Yeah, when I first saw it, and with the narrative that was developing with respect to the breakup with his wife, and reaching out to former lovers, the text messages, and then the talk of him having PTSD and depression. I'm wondering, well, maybe is this guy just, hallucinating this stuff? Does he think he's a secret agent on a secret mission and he's having a manic episode and it's manifesting in this way? That's somehow, sometimes maybe there's a logical reason behind it, but then of course, with everything that was happening in New Jersey and these propulsion systems he's talking about, you have to draw these lines, and you have to ask the questions. So with respect to the actual technology he's talking about, okay, we go back to the New Jersey situation, you had the congressman who said that there's an Iranian mothership off the coast. And then the Pentagon comes out and says that's all BS. Well, now this guy comes out, he has a dramatic exit in front of Trump Tower in his Cybertruck. And the one thing he mentions is he's urgently talking to these guys through email, and he's saying, I need to talk to you guys. I need to go on your show. And he wanted to expose it all before the 31st. This was his message because he knew he had an exit strategy that was going to be dramatic. So, I mean, what is this technology that he's talking about? I mean, you're the expert in this, and that's why you're here. What explain it, break it down for us, please.
Yeah, I'm the orb expert. No, I think that essentially a lot of the forms of anti-gravity that are out there are reliant upon some plasma form of like mercury, or just at today's day and age, I think, like if you look at it from like a progression standpoint from even World War II to where we're at now, like they've been advancing 25 years for every year for us in terms of technology from the black world compared to like where mainstream academia is at the moment. And they've absolutely reached a point where we can, just from the molecules of hydrogen in the air, produce a plasma that will be like a bubble of energy. And, this can be a payload as well, is that this ball of energy is like a ball of lightning that you can strike down.
You know what? That's what he said in the email, is that these things have an unlimited payload. How is that even possible? He said they could park these things over the White House and it's game over. Like, how is that even possible? And how can these things not be detected if it's over the White House?
Yeah, and the detection question is a good one as well. And so with these balls of plasma, radio frequencies can't penetrate plasma if it's the wavelength is higher than I think the wavelength that's keeping the plasma stable. So they have to use quantum communications if you're going to control this with some kind of drone that's out there. But the fact of what it's doing to allow it to be able to be like a ball of lightning in just a spherical region of space is it's actually manipulating space-time itself, is that they're actually producing a bubble in space-time and it's maintaining the energy within that bubble that we see.
Wow.
And yeah, and then we can move it around. And the best part is that since the energy doesn't radiate outward, or at least not a significant amount, less than you can replenish, at least, then in that situation, this thing can last for a while and move around. And this is like a bomb just floating around in the sky, but just almost infinitely more powerful. And that's the scary part, is that the reason why they don't want to disclose this information to people is that people already freak out about nuclear winter. Like, this renders that like obsolete. I mean, we're talking about like everything's just kind of gone. Or what I was saying on my stream as well is that, like what Tesla said with the death ray, is that if you could just make a super powerful electromagnetic pulse that can just shut down all life within 10, 100-mile radius, and this is shockingly devastating weaponry. And the flip side of it is that we could have things that seem unimaginable, like free energy, Star Trek replicators in our future with this type of power. So if it were to be released to us, what are the implications of something this significant? And this is what that kind of technology represents in the minds of the people that are hiding it, the people that are potentially silencing people over it. And that's what I would want people to be thinking about, because we have to figure out a way of like, okay, if there is this technology that this guy's willing to go die for, flee to Mexico for, because he's seen this firsthand. Potentially, he was a drone operator as well. I mean, the thing about it is everything about this can be verified in terms of like his credential, like what teams he was on. If that's all true, then like, was he having a psychological break? It doesn't seem likely. He was messaging his girlfriend about his old Kobe sneakers reminded him of the Cybertruck that he rented. That doesn't sound to me like a guy who's like, having a break. And even the guy, the weird guy that he was with on the reality show. This guy was with him on a reality show, and he's got a tweet about him going, does anyone who know who this guy is? Is like, dude, you were in this reality show with him? Anyway, that guy at least says, too, that he seemed like a normal guy in the video in the reality show. Doesn't seem like a guy who's like, having like a psychological break or anything like that. So, I don't know. Seems credible.
What was your initial reaction when you saw the email that was published?
Yeah, no, right away. Because I just realized a lot like I just said, I realized that like a lot of this stuff is verifiable. So, if this is real, then, it's huge. And I realized too, what I was reading, like checked out from everything that I've researched over the last 14 months in terms of how someone would react to being exposed to this technology, because you realize the massive implications too, for like, they might've been able to hide this for a long time. I mean, it's going to blow a hole through like a lot of what people currently, like NPC type people currently accept. And people, I don't think, really understand like how big of an impact that's going to have on the world. And just a lot of the details about like he's naming people's names. Like these are the people I worked with, like, and the name of his first car, stuff like that, to like stuff that like to verify him. Mm-hmm. Just right away it seemed like an extremely elaborate LARP if someone were to LARP. And then once I realized that people were like checking out that this was really a letter from the guy that supposedly blew up in the car, I went, holy shit! Like, I'm running with this. Like, because if it turns out it's a LARP, it's still the greatest LARP out there.
And then in the Shawn Ryan interview, they spoke about the possibility of the Cybertruck driving up by itself, a body planted inside. The Signal account was updated post detonation. And I mean, if this guy's really deep in these projects and with his sophistication, it would seem plausible that he could still be alive.
Yeah, those are great points. And it was funny because I had thought the same thing about the car. I was like, it can almost certainly just be hacked into. And even if they say like, oh, they didn't turn on the auto drive. Yeah, well, he didn't turn it on from the inside. But if they're just hacking it from the outside, like, does the car even register that? I mean, we got to be like they have hacks that can air gap. Like you can have a network that's just air gapped and they can jump the gap and they can actually put a virus on your computer. So there's nothing really safe from that perspective. And yeah, a lot of people speculate.
And Elon came out. Elon's like, no, it's impossible. The Cybertruck will detect if the person's alert and will ask them to put pressure on the steering wheel. But you're saying these things can all be hacked.
Yeah, I'd say that probably anything that's electronic that the CIA or NSA probably has some kind of backdoor into. Like we learned that from Vault 7, the Vault 7 leaks, where they have a lot of access to stuff that people, but at the end of the day, okay, whatever. They're just theories. And, then you have to plant another body in there. That's the part I had the biggest problem with. It was like, okay, that's either him or it's not. Whether you're saying like he's burnt beyond recognition, because then I'm just like, okay, now it's even more suspicious. But what? So is this like a problem? Is this like a Jack Bauer 24 situation where he's like out in Mexico somewhere and he's going to come back and like, I don't know, needs to be rescued? Because if so, like this guy's a real hero. I mean, if that story is true, this guy's like a real whistleblower throwing it all on the line. He knew they were chasing him, even says so in the message. I mean, I don't know. What more do people want from like help me, I'm running from the government message? I guess that's my question to you.
Yeah, it definitely is wild. And with the authorities acknowledging it, they acknowledge the two letters, two different style letters that he had, but we don't know if they're acknowledging the specific email that he sent, but they said there were notes inside some kind of a chip that they found. Have you looked into that at all?
No, I haven't yet. It's just been a busy night, but just because it's crazy. The other thing too is that when I first posted about it, it started taking off because it was huge. And then Shawn Ryan posted, and I guess he was like jealous I didn't give him enough credit or something for it. But it was just, I had just seen the post on Twitter. And it wasn't until after that I realized that that was actually the Cybertruck bomber guy. I already posted before I even knew that part. And then I saw that it was from Shawn Ryan. That was supposedly from an episode that was dropping today. And I remembered that yesterday he made a post. I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I went, oh, wait, what? I was like, this is the thing. And so I was like, okay, then I made a follow up like, this is the Cybertruck bomber guy.
Right. Because I saw your post and I'm like, wait a minute. I looked at the name and I'm like, isn't that the same guy? And I'm like, and I looked it up and I'm like, wait a minute. It is the same guy. And then I saw your follow-up post where you realized that it was the same guy. So all this is wild. I have a feeling that the authorities are.
This is insane.
Yeah, I'm here for it too. And I think the authorities are going to try to downplay this. They're just going to call it conspiracy, and they're going to try to just discredit anyone who's bringing this up. But I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Pandora's box is open. That video with Shawn Ryan alone, over 5 million views. Rasmussen just published that statistic. And it's going viral, and everyone's talking about it on all channels right now. And I think it's going to open up a lot of eyes. What do you think of the final implications before we go?
I didn't even know all that you just said right there because I've been live for this last time. It doesn't surprise me. I just kept saying, like, anyone in the UFO community who's not reporting on this right now, like, I would never trust them ever again. Because, like, this is just everything you could ever ask for. It, like, literally says I'm in a UFO special access program and we got anti-gravity technology and stuff going on. Like, you got to be all over this. Shawn Ryan's gone into hiding. Shawn Ryan went into hiding. I'm on my live stream and like Shawn Ryan's posting out there. He's gone into hiding. I mean,
I just saw that.
I had to ask, was like that actually now, or was that like yesterday before he posted this? Because if it's now, the big thing was watching that Shawn Ryan didn't know what UFO SAP meant. Like, it was special access program. There's this guy who's saying, like, I have seen the secret technology. Like, no question. That's what the letter says. And, Shawn Ryan didn't know how big this was. Because I actually was, I love Shawn Ryan. If Shawn Ryan's out there, man, we should talk at some point in the future, 100%. I don't think he realized how huge this was. And yesterday, then, like, you don't sit on something this hot. You don't wait like 24 hours, check out my live thing tomorrow, right? Like, you say, check out my live stream tomorrow. This guy, literally says that the Cybertruck Killer was like in the UFO special access program and saw anti-gravity technology, and we're in an arms race with China. It's just, like, too hot, bro. Like, so this guy might have been literally killed here. You're like, you having this information, puts you at risk.
Well, and now it's out. It is out, and the emails are out. The information is out, and the only thing they can do now is try to discredit the messenger. And like I said, they're gonna maybe say he just had a psychotic break and he was delusional and he was having a manic episode and his depression was getting the best of him. That's the way I see them downplaying this whole thing.
Yeah. So what's our counterplay? I guess the counterplay is they should ask Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines about the accusation that multiple people have claimed that she's the orchestrator of this UFO slow drip disclosure process, which clearly there's some process in play to acclimate the public to getting used to this idea of aliens or whatever bullshit they want us to get used to. But at the end of the day, they should just straight up come out and say, Tesla was right. Free energy is possible and all around us. And we've been killing people and discrediting people and calling them crazy and conspiracy theorists and pseudoscientists when actually they were all right, probably going back like many, many, many decades. And, let us just see what happens with this. Roll the dice on giving us this technology. But more importantly, maybe we just give access to all the surveillance spy shit that they have, crazy whammy footage that can just see whole cities and like zoom in right down and watch you walking your dog. Give that back to the people. Like, give all this stuff, give the technology back to the people, the surveillance system back to the people, make it so that it's publicly available. Like, put it on a website where we can all just go and look. Like, maybe it'll be less crime if we can just solve all the crimes because we have like super secret access. Because genie's not going back in the bottle. Like, this is out in the open now.
Yeah, no, it's out in the open. And what's wild is, again, I go back to the New Jersey drone coverage that we were doing for weeks. And it felt like it was like every day there was something new. The DHS was involved. They were having press briefings at local, state, and federal levels. It's almost as if it was like a precursor. And I bet you this guy was watching all of this unfold, and he's going, I know what it is, and I've got to blow the whistle. And he decided the most dramatic way, and it was a very sad way, if in fact he is no longer with us on this earth. But the fact there's also considered that he could still be alive. I mean, the story's not over yet, Ashton.
Yeah. Also, even if he did, whatever, shoot himself and then blow up the car somehow afterwards, like, even if he somehow did that, which I don't understand, like, this could still just be a thing where it's like, hey, man, my time's up. They got me. I gave all the information I could give. The world's not ready to accept this or help me. Like, whatever. I'm just gonna go out. I don't know. There's a lot of different angles to it in general. Like, I want more information. I want the journalist walking through his door or whatever, looking around his apartment like there was with the other guy. Like,
yeah.
Can we get some of that on this guy? I want to know like everything about this dude. Like, what was he into? Like, this guy's message here is pretty significant if it's true. It has massive implications. Like, so the journalist again should be asking Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines like what she knows about UFO technology, alien technology, or what potentially we know about anti-gravity technology specifically, and related to drones that keep getting reported on that people are seeing, but the government's gaslighting us about it as usual.
And what's wild about this whole thing is it happened outside of Trump International, Las Vegas. And Donald Trump is about to be inaugurated as the next president of the United States. So we have this event in front of his hotel. We have this email that was delivered that has revelations about high technology and war crimes. And there's no question in my mind that Donald Trump, he has already been briefed on everything that this guy has revealed. I mean, first of all, Trump, he was previously president. I'm sure he's been read into certain programs if they let him into some of those programs. But now it is like, after the millions of views, it's going to be common knowledge, and there's no way that, even Donald Trump's going to be able to, he's going to have to answer to this, and his new security team that are coming in, they're going to have to answer to this. And if the journalists who are out there who have access to these people, they need to ask those questions. So we're going to be watching this very, very closely. Ashton, thank you for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated, Gary. Have a good one.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. All right, now the implications of Livelsberger's manifesto are staggering. Advanced technology, government cover-ups, and warnings about China's military capabilities, all from a man who had nothing left to lose. But here is what should really keep you up at night. If even half of what he claimed is true, we're dealing with a level of technological warfare that makes everything else look like child's play. Was Livelsberger really trying to warn us about something bigger? Something that could change the entire global power structure overnight? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about his claims regarding gravitic propulsion systems and China's involvement with these mystery drones? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to check out our exclusive limited edition Mag Avengers collection, available now at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.